Welcome back to Selfa, Lu Growth Mindset, your channel of growth, strategy, and powerful stories that reveal how the world is changing and what we must learn from it. The gigantic doors of a Russian aircraft factory slowly open, and what appears is not just another airplane. At first glance, it looks like a classic wide-body jet, something familiar. But then the reality hits. This machine carries some of the most modern technology of its generation. The Ilyushin 96-400M steps onto the global stage with one clear message: the era of having only one or two choices in long-haul aviation may not last forever. For years, airlines around the world had almost no alternative. If you wanted to cross continents, especially to travel through the West, you were almost always sitting in a plane built by Boeing or Airbus. That dominance became the normal order of things. A road, almost sonic in speed and scale, controlled by two giants. But now, Russia is introducing a massive new contender, and it's not just a product. It's the story of a comeback that many people said was impossible in today's world. What has been happening behind the walls of this factory was a complete mystery for most of the planet, until now. Inside, the work never stops. Day and night, in a city called Voronezh, one of the largest factories in the country is preparing aircraft for the year 2026. And what most people don't realize is this: building a wide-body aircraft from scratch, with no outside help, is one of the hardest industrial challenges on Earth. It demands thousands of workers, endless testing, and millions of hours of pressure, failure, adjustments, and repetition. The Ilyushin 96-400M is essentially a giant evolution of an older design, updated with new technology and new ambition. It can carry up to 460 passengers in a single flight. That is a staggering number of lives and stories moving together through the sky. Its wingspan stretches beyond 60 meters, and it stands close to 15.5 meters tall. On a runway, it doesn't look like a normal airplane anymore. It looks like a moving mountain made of metal. But then you notice something that feels like a contradiction in the modern world. This aircraft uses 4 engines. Most modern planes today rely on 2 engines to save fuel. Everyone is obsessed with cutting costs down to the smallest detail. So using 4 engines might look like a step backward. But in this case, it's not that simple. Russia is building this aircraft because, in their situation, they have to. They are cut off from Western parts, and they still need a way to move people across an immense territory. This jet can fly over 8,700 kilometers, about 5,400 miles, without stopping. That's like flying from Moscow all the way to the edge of the Pacific. And here is the part that makes this story bigger than aviation. Russia is building every piece of this aircraft within its own borders. No U.S. engine parts. No European avionics. No Western computing systems. In a world where aviation is usually deeply connected across continents, this is a radical shift. Even the cockpit reflects that change. The new cockpit is fully digital, filled with green displays that show the pilots everything they need. It looks like something from a movie, modern, sharp, and designed to signal technological independence. And yet, the hardest part of this entire story is not the fuselage, not the wings, not the cockpit. It is the engine. For a long time, Russian engines were considered weaker than Western ones. Noisier. Less efficient. Burning too much fuel. But for this new model, they are using an engine called the PS90A1, a major leap forward. It generates more than 16 tons of thrust. With 4 of them, the aircraft has more than 64 tons of total thrust, enough to lift a giant machine into the clouds. Of course, 4 engines also mean higher operating costs. Many airlines in the U.S. and Europe would never choose a 4-engine widebody today. They prefer large twin-engine aircraft like the Boeing 777 because they are cheaper to operate. But again, Russia is playing a different game. Russia does not yet have massive engines capable of powering a twin-engine widebody of this size. So they use 4 smaller engines to do the job. And there is another advantage: in some situations, 4 engines can mean more safety. If one engine stops working, the aircraft still has three others to keep flying, useful on long flights over oceans or frozen regions where there is nowhere to land. What's more, these engines are designed to be easier to repair. They use modules that can be replaced quickly, reducing the time the aircraft stays grounded. Because reliability is not a slogan, it is a discipline. But then the story takes an even more ambitious turn. Russia is also working on a new, secret engine, the PD-35. This engine is expected to be a monster, possibly capable of around 35 tons of thrust. If it succeeds, it could transform the Ilyushin 96 into a twin-engine aircraft in the future. And if that happens, it would change the game completely. For now, Russia is choosing safety and independence over saving a bit of fuel. While the world obsesses over fuel calculations, Russia is trying to ensure their aircraft can keep flying, no matter what happens in global politics. And anyone who has heard the combined sound of four engines pushing together knows it is not just noise. It is a deep force that commands respect. The future of this aircraft depends on one massive technological bet, the PD-35. The dream of what this plane can become is tied to that engine. If engineers succeed, it could reshape aviation for decades. The fan at the front of the PD-35 is said to be more than 3 meters wide, wider than some small houses. It is designed to compete with the best engines from companies like General Electric or Rolls-Royce. But building an engine of that size is among the most difficult engineering tasks in the world. It requires materials strong enough to remain solid under temperatures hotter than a volcano. And here comes the next challenge. Because of the global situation, Russia must find those materials and build the machines to shape them by itself. It cannot simply buy critical parts from another country if the supply is blocked. So they turn to advanced solutions like 3D printing and new metal alloys to make components lighter. This is the same kind of high-end technology used in Western jets, and it costs money. Big money. If the PD-35 works, it won't just be for passenger planes. It could power cargo aircraft capable of transporting tanks and trucks across the world. That's why this project is not just about selling an airplane. It's about proving that Russia can still be a first-class high-technology nation. The Ilyushin 96-400M becomes a testbed, a flying laboratory, where the future is built while the present is still flying. But as with every major leap, rumors appear. Some people say the PD-35 is not only an engine. They whisper that it might be a cover for a secret energy project. Some claim it uses a new type of cooling system, liquid metal cooling, discovered deep underground. There are stories about drilling for oil and finding a metal that does not exist on any map, a metal strong enough to survive heat that would melt a normal jet engine in seconds. If that were true, it would mean Russia did not just catch up with the West. It would mean they jumped 100 years forward. And the rumors don't stop there. Some people imagine this engine could be so powerful that it might one day launch small satellites into orbit directly from the back of the aircraft. A giant airliner flying at extreme altitude, releasing a satellite into space. It sounds like fiction. But when people see a 3-meter fan and hear 35 tons of thrust, they start asking dangerous questions. Others propose a different explanation, that the extraordinary strength of these alloys comes from old Soviet files locked away for 40 years, files that allegedly contain notes about objects that crashed in mountains long ago. The theory becomes even stranger, that the PD-35 is built using reverse-engineered technology that should not exist yet. And whether you believe these rumors or not, they reveal one truth. When a project grows too big, people struggle to accept that humans can create something so extreme through pure engineering. Still, there is a darker layer to these theories. Some say that to keep a secret this large, underground factories had to be built. People living near test sites claim they hear deep groaning sounds that do not resemble normal jet engines. They say the ground trembles with vibrations like a heavy heartbeat. This has led to speculation about impulse technology, something that pushes air differently, making the aircraft almost silent at cruising altitude. But if Russia truly develops secret technology, the rest of the world will want to know how. And that is where strategy enters the picture. Some experts believe the real goal is not even to sell these planes to civilian airlines. They think Russia is building a ghost fleet, giant aircraft that never appear on normal radar. With special paint and silent PD-35 engines, these aircraft could move thousands of soldiers or tons of equipment across the globe without being detected. And the most shocking idea is this, that a version of the aircraft might be tested without pilots at all. With advanced computers and the power of these engines, the Ilyushin 96-400M could become the largest drone in the world, an aircraft the size of a football field flying on its own over the ocean. Imagine that. Terrifying. But exactly what military leaders would want, a machine that never gets tired and can fly into dangerous zones without risking human life. Then another theory appears. Some people claim the aircraft is not just a plane, but a flying command center. They say the interior could be filled with computers capable of taking control of the internet of a small country simply by flying over it. From high altitude, it could jam every phone and every radio on the ground, becoming the ultimate weapon in a digital war. But to power that kind of system, you would need massive electricity. And that brings us back to the PD-35 once again. Some say these engines might also function like giant generators, producing more energy than a small nuclear plant. If that were true, the aircraft becomes a flying battery, capable of staying in the air for days. The more you look at this project, the more it starts to feel like a giant puzzle, pieces that do not fully match the profile of a normal passenger plane. So what does all of this mean for you, for me, and for how we will travel? By 2026, the Ilyushin 96-400M is expected to begin regular routes. At first, mostly within Russia and to friendly countries in Asia and the Middle East. But the impact could be felt everywhere. For the first time in a long time, the world may see a real alternative to the Western giants. More competition could lead to cheaper flights as more aircraft enter the market. And it's possible other countries may decide to buy these aircraft too, especially those that refuse to depend on only two suppliers. But there is a catch. The aircraft must prove it can operate reliably day after day. Building a global repair and parts network is enormous work. If an aircraft breaks down in another country, it must be repaired quickly. Russia plans to build dozens of these aircraft each year to meet demand, but aviation is unforgiving. One weakness exposed publicly can destroy trust for a decade. And that leaves us with the bigger question, are we ready for a world where the West no longer rules the skies alone? Is this new jet truly going to take over long-distance routes, or is it a dream that never really lifts off? Tell me what you think in the comments below. And if you want more powerful stories about the future of technology and the battles behind it, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Selfa Lugrov Mindset. Now, before we end, here's what makes a Selfa report different. We don't just watch history and technology from a distance. We extract meaning. We turn facts into mindset. Because behind every machine, every strategy, every comeback that shocks the world, there is a lesson for the individual life. And if you are building your future, your discipline, your mission, you cannot afford to watch stories like this without learning something personal from them. Lesson 1. Independence has a price, and comfort always looks cheaper at the beginning. The modern aviation world optimized everything for cost, speed, and efficiency. 2 engines, global supply chains, shared technology. But when the rules of the world change, comfort becomes fragile. The lesson is simple. In your personal life, if you depend on only one source, one income, one skill, one person, one environment, you may feel safe until the day you are not. Build alternatives. Build competence. Build options. Because the day pressure rises, only prepared people can breathe calmly. Lesson 2. What people call a step backward can sometimes be the only step forward. For engines look outdated to the modern eye. But in a constrained reality, it becomes a solution. Many people quit their dreams because they refuse to look old-fashioned. They refuse to start small, to repeat basics, to do slow work. Yet real growth is not about looking modern, it is about being effective. If your life requires you to take a path that others don't understand, take it anyway. The world doesn't reward appearances. It rewards results. Lesson 3. Great projects require invisible work, and invisible work requires discipline. Thousands of workers. Millions of hours of testing. Day and night labor. The public only sees the airplane when the doors open. In your life, it's the same. People will notice your success after it is built. But what builds it is the quiet repetition, reading, training, failing, correcting, starting again. If you want to become strong, stop waiting for motivation. Choose discipline. Discipline is what still shows up when your emotions disappear. Lesson 4. Rumors grow when people cannot accept the reality of preparation. When a project becomes too big, many people prefer wild theories to hard truth. They'd rather believe secret technology than accept years of structured engineering. In your personal development, this is deadly. It leads you to chase shortcuts, magic tricks, and false hopes. The truth is harsher, but it is also freeing. Everything you want is on the other side of consistent effort. No myth. No mystery. Just execution. Lesson 5. Your future belongs to those who can hold pressure without losing clarity. This entire story is about pressure, technical pressure, political pressure, economic pressure, strategic pressure. And the real winners are those who keep building while being watched, criticized, delayed, doubted. In your life, pressure will come too: responsibilities, betrayal, uncertainty, loneliness. Your advantage is not luck. Your advantage is clarity. If you can protect your mind, keep your priorities clean, and act without panic, you will outlast people who are more talented but unstable. And this is the Selfa conclusion, the mindset conclusion, the Grave mindset conclusion. Your life is a project. Your character is your engine. Your discipline is your fuel. Your vision is your runway. The world can change overnight, but if you are built right inside, you will not collapse outside. So if this story spoke to you, if it reminded you that greatness is never accidental, then do not just watch and forget. Take one lesson. Apply it today. And come back tomorrow stronger than you were today. This is Selfa, Growth Mindset. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and keep building.